Just because you hate Redfall doesn't mean the next man does. One man's trash is another man's treasure. So welcome to a new series I'm calling Good Reviews for Bad Games. And today we're taking a look at the people who find Redfall to be a treasure. Roll tape. So we're now officially on the Redfall Steam page. There's over 1,600 mostly negative reviews. But we're not looking at negative reviews today. We're gonna filter that out. We're gonna go to review type and positive. And as you can see, there are a total of 895 positive reviews at the time of this recording. Let's see what the people have to say. So right off rip, I think we got a couple trolls. The very first review, this man's got 25 hours on record, so he's put some time in. And he said, I liked Fallout 76 at launch. So I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about him. He just likes bad games. I think he has what they call it, a masochist, people who like enjoy pain. So yeah, he's a Fallout 76 fan. And then right below that, we've got I've enjoyed it so far. There's clearly something wrong with me. Yeah, there is. Because you like this game, and also you have over 3,000 games in your goddamn account. You just be buying everything, dude. I think you have a spending problem. It's not that you like Redfall. I think you have a spending problem. 3,000 games? God. So this one comes from Cappy23, and he says, actually, it's much better than its public perception. Overall, it feels a bit like the game still needed some polishing, but it had to be rushed out for release. Hopefully they managed to iron out a few glitches going forward. However, even in its current state, Redfall is definitely entertaining and good looking. Entertaining subjective, so I'll give you that. Maybe he really does find it entertaining, but good looking? This game is not a good looking game. But you know what's really weird about this review and why I wanted to highlight it? I'm gonna call a cap on this review. So like if you just look, it says he recommended, he's got 13 hours on the game. Like, oh, he really played it, he liked it. The reason I'm gonna call a cap on this review is because he's only got one review that he's ever done. Like, I don't know, man. Like you look at all these other accounts, they have other reviews. Like, I don't know, man. You just did one review. It seems like he just made this account. I feel like this is a game developer. I could be reaching. I feel like this could be a potential developer on the game. You only got one review, but everybody else got mad reviews like on game. Even I have like a bunch of reviews on games. Like this account just looks a little suspicious. We don't believe you. You need more people. Olo goes on to say, I honestly feel like everyone's being too harsh on this game. I'm not gonna say it's amazing, and it definitely isn't up to the standards of Deathloop, Dishonored 2, or my favorite Arcane game, Prey. So right off rip, I caught a red flag. He's played all the Arcane games. He's clearly an Arcane fanboy, which, you know, I'm a huge fan of Dishonored 1 and 2. Deathloop I wasn't a big fan of, but like I like Arcane, but this dude is definitely an Arcane fanboy because Prey wasn't very good in my opinion anyway. Anyways, he said it's not even close, and I won't pretend that I'm not disappointed about that, but I am. I went into this hoping for basically a Borderlands game, but with the quality and the wonders of previous Arcane games, and it is not that. And then he proceeds to write a whole fucking novel that I'm not going to read. The point being is he kind of comes across 72 hours. God damn. Yeah, you kind of come across as a fanboy and an apologist for Arcane. This game is, it's funny too because he's like, it's definitely not good as Deathloop, definitely not good as Dishonored, it's definitely not good as Prey. And like you sound like those people like, you know, even though my dad, you know, hit me upside the head with a bottle after he gets done drinking, you know, he stabbed me in my arm, he spits in my face, he tells my mom shut up bitch all the time. And he kicked me in my balls. He's still a good guy. He's still a good, like all these goddamn excuses. You sound like an Arcane apologist. But maybe he genuinely enjoys the game because it put 72 hours on Redfall. That's crazy. Good for you, Olo. At least you enjoy what everybody else doesn't, man. As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Yo, I'm already laughing that I haven't read this because I pre-read it before I even started recording. I was like, yo, Pierre says, I, for one, really love this game. I know a lot of people have performance issues, but I expect those to be ironed out. If you somehow have a smooth experience or are willing to wait for the patches, you'll look at a beautiful game with fresh mechanics and an interesting story. Once again, I think this might be a game developer too, because this is cap. A beautiful game. This is one of the worst looking games of 2023. Fresh mechanics. It's a looter shooter. It's a first person shooter, and it's the jankiest. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. In 2023, like, it boggles my mind that there are like developers out there that can't get simple shooting mechanics. Anybody who's played Redfall, back me up in the comments. the shooting mechanics are very stiff and janky. So for him to be like, yo, it's got fresh mechanics, I guess if your perception of fresh is bad because it's kind of hard to fuck up a first person shooter, then I guess he's right. But like fresh mechanics, no. Fresh as in Subway fresh as in it's not, yeah, maybe. And then interesting story, hell no. There's literally, yo, for those of you who have not played Redfall, it drops you into the world and it's just like zombies took over. I'm not zombies, but vampires took over. And then next thing you know, you're building a base, and there's a base with like 20 people in there with like NPCs that you can talk to. They don't have any interesting dialogue. There's no context to how and when you built this base. There's literally no story to this game. So for him to say there's an interesting story, I think we got another game developer here, Pierre. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's okay. You can like the game, but don't, like, I love the Technomancer, right? I won't say I like the Technomancer, and that's considered a bad game. But I recognize the faults with like the combat and stuff. The reason I like the Technomancer is because the story was very interesting, and I felt like they had something there with the concept of people from Earth going to Mars and gaining these superpowers, and the super police doing all these crazy things, right? It was just like the combat was janky. Like, whatever, dude. I cap. So Taco says, if you have friends to play with, this game is great. Me and my wife and a friend have all been having a great time on it. Sure, the AI might need some work, but other than that, everything else has been great. Runs fine for us, and everything on our potato computers. So yeah, just try the game out yourself, and if you don't like it, refund it. Just wanted to put this here because I think it's an awesome game. The reason I wanted to highlight this comment is because I wanted to highlight an argument that I always make. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. If you have to play a game with family and friends, or just with friends, whatever, if you have to play with other people, I always make the argument, is the game good? Because anything with your family and friends is fun because you guys have a chemistry. You're bouncing jokes off of each other. Hey, buddy. See, me and him got a chemistry. What's the name? You're bouncing jokes off of one another, and it makes what seems like, it makes it seem better than what it actually is, right? For me, the way I know I really like a game is whether or not I want to play with my friends. Like, I knew I really liked, and I'm talking about Apex Legends when it first came out. I knew I really liked I just choked on my spit. I knew I really liked Apex Legends because I was playing that game regardless if I had a crew to run with. There were times where like my friends were busy because they were with family or they had to work or something like that. And like I was still on the game grinding ranked by myself. If you have to play with other people to make the game fun, it's not fun. The point of the game is to be fun in itself. And if the friends are there, it greater enhances the fun. But you can't put makeup on shit and expect it to be anything different. It's still shit. Just got a little bit of makeup on it. Come on now, guys. This man. Don't beat this shit right here. Jaden, he's got almost 8 hours on the game, and he said, I can't wait for the full game to release. Now I can feel the smart ass in this review, but my thing is, why did you rate it positive? Talking about something, I can't wait for the full game to release. You don't even like it. What are you talking about, dude? You clearly know it's ass. This man just left a positive review. I swear Steam is just full of Rumpelstiltskins, which is a troll, for those unaware. So this next one comes from Quiet, which is funny. It makes sense why his name is Quiet, seeing as he's only got 5 hours on record. So it's real, this game's pretty quiet on his hard drive. He says, despite what the community thinks, this game is really fun. Oh yeah? Well, why do you only have 5 hours on the game? This was posted on May 9th. Today in which I'm recording is May 22nd. Now let's see. Redfall release date. Go ahead and get that. Redfall came out May 2nd. Today is May 22nd. So in the last 20 days, you've only put 5 hours on the game, but then you put a review up talking about, oh, this game is really fun. Cap. So Midwinter says, I was kind of unsure how to rate this game. Since there's no sideways thumb, I decided to go with thumbs up. While the game leaves a lot to be desired, I strongly believe this game has potential. The settings feel quite immersive, the characters are cool, and the world is big enough to offer a decent potential for exploring. A few tweaks and fixes are all it takes to get the show on the road. It can be done. I hope the developers don't screw this up. Shout out to Midwinter for being very hopeful. I find this very interesting because this isn't the only review that I've seen that are positive. And it says they enjoy the exploring, although you only got 8 hours on the game. I don't think you beat it. what's the name? So you didn't like exploring that much. But yeah, the people who left positive reviews, they said they like exploring. Now I played the game, and for those who played it, feel free to back me up. The world is empty. It's a lot of just running around in an empty world. A vampire might spawn every once in a while, but it's a lot of just really long runs from one side of the map to the other. So I don't know what was fun exploring for you. But more importantly, I wanted to highlight this this comment because I said in a previous video that Steam needs to improve their review system. You either can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I agree, there needs to be a in-between button, like it's alright, or like you feel indifferent type of button. Like if they don't want to do traditional scores, which I'm fine with because people get too caught up on numbers, but there definitely needs to be like some type of sideways thumb, like it's alright, because like yes or no is just too black and white, and the world is more than black and white. So come on Steam, we giving you feedback. Lewd Geek says Redfall is in New York, not Massachusetts, but if you forget that, this is one of the best co-op games in years. Once again, another example of he had to play with friends in order to have fun. But I just wanted to bring this comment up because he says Redfall is in New York, not Massachusetts. The developers are on record saying that Redfall, Massachusetts is a fictional city. They never said it was in New York. So he just wanted to be right about something. Basically what Lewd Geek is, well, actually had asked, Redfall is in New York, it's not in Massachusetts. Okay, like, yo, what is with a lot of y'all that just want to be right about something? Well, actually, you're just wrong. They said it's not a real city. They never said it was in New York. What the fuck are you talking about? So let's do a breakdown of what King Dooku has to say. He says, so despite this game having what people would call a rocky start, the game's actually fun. Don't listen to the reviews that give this product a bad review and to a person that has less than 10 hours played. I hate when people's argument to like debate somebody is, don't listen to them, listen to me. Like, that's not an argument. Like, you can't just invalidate people's arguments without any type of substantial evidence or any type of proper rebuttal. So that was already like kind of a dumb argument. But he says, I myself give any game 10 hours before I pass any judgment. And I have well past 10 hours at this point. In my opinion, I don't think you should review any game unless you beat it. But hey, whatever, 10 hours, at least that's some time on the game. The game's great. It's super fun, especially with friends. Here we go again with this shit with friends. It's fun if you play with friends. Of course it is, it's your friends. And to all those who are struggling with lag using a 3K or a 4K or the 40 series GPU, yeah, I'm running a 1070 and I don't get any lag at all. A 1070? What year? That's an old ass graphics card. What year did RTX 1070 release? 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. You have a 7-year-old graphics card and people who have the 30 and 40 GPU can't run it, but your 7-year-old card can? Cap. Yeah, I'm running a 1070 and you have a friend who owns the game and they're willing to try out your own place, or you're sharing there with your library with you. Give the game a go and formulate your own opinion. This game isn't without its issues. No game is, but the game is genuinely fun. Despite having 58 hours in this game, oh, maybe, actually I take that back. Maybe his 1070 is running. He's got 82 hours on the game. God damn. He gave it a 9 out of 10? Sheesh, I mean, one man's trash is another man's treasure. What I will say the problem is with this review though is like, it's okay that you like the game. I don't want you to think that I care about that. It's more so you're like, don't listen to the negative reviews, listen to me. Okay, well, what do you like about the game? He doesn't actually state what he likes about the game. He just says it's super fun and I enjoy playing it with the friends. Did you like the looter shooter mechanics? Did you think the AI on the vampires were cool? Did you like the character design? Did you like the world? Did you like the narrative? Did you like the music? Did you like the special abilities? And if you did, what did you like? And if you didn't like something, what didn't you like? How did this shape your view of your gameplay? For you to say, don't listen to the negative reviews, listen to me, you said a whole lot of nothing. You just said it's fun. That's not an argument. And this is why I said it's very important to read people's reviews. So basically what I'm trying to say is like, improve the way that you articulate what you're saying. I have no doubt in my mind that, yeah, maybe you did have fun with it, but you got to articulate. You can't just be like, it's the opposite of, like, I always say people need to expand their vocabulary. You can't just call a game trash. You got to explain why. This is the opposite. You can't just call a game fun. It's fun. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. It is. And our next review comes from Bighead 3005, which I wonder, is 3005 a reference to Childish Gambino? Let me know if you ever see this video, Bighead. But he has 42 hours on record, and he goes on to say, I liked it, which is fair enough. Nice and simple. I'm glad you liked it. And I hope you, the viewer, like today's sponsor, Holskern. Today's video is sponsored by Holskern. Holskern's a lifestyle brand that carries a wide array of products from watches to jewelry. And although they carry watches that use leather and steel, they're best known for their craftsmanship on their wooden watches. The wood provides a unique twist on timepieces that are sure to help you stand out from the pack. See, the reality is that you and many others are not playing Redfall. That gives you plenty of time to check out what Holskern has to offer. Why waste money on a game that barely functions when you can cop a new timepiece from Holskern and look fly at the next function? Just make sure to tap the link in the description box below and use code Hokage15 at checkout to receive 15% off of your next purchase from Holskern. Next one comes from Toki Putty, and he says, this is not a good arcane game. It is, however, a decent shooter. Sure, you will forget about it as soon as you're done with it, but it's still a pretty fun experience overall. Definitely not worth $70 though, or 70 pounds. I don't agree that it's a decent shooter. I think the shooting mechanics are kind of ass, but I think this is one of the better positive reviews that I've seen on this game. And the reason being is I think I kind of understand what he's saying when he says this is not a good arcane game, but it's a decent shooter. It reminds me of the argument that I would make about Mass Effect Andromeda. Mass Effect Andromeda, for those unaware, the original Mass Effect trilogy is my favorite game series of all time. But Mass Effect Andromeda, I always made the argument that it has the best combat, like the best gameplay in the Mass Effect series, but the story was just ass. So in my opinion, Mass Effect Andromeda is it's a bad Mass Effect game, but it's still an okay game, if that makes sense. The problem is, like, Mass Effect set the bar so high, and I think that's what he's trying to argue with Arcane. Arcane set the bar so high that he's like, it's still something decent here. It's just not a good Arcane. You expect better from Arcane, or you expect better from BioWare. Same thing with Anthem, right? There were some redeeming factors with Anthem, despite what some popular YouTubers would have told you. I thought the flight in Anthem was fun, and I thought the combo combat system where you the prime and detonator system in the game was cool. It's just everything else was completely undercooked. So it wasn't a terrible game. It just wasn't a good BioWare game, if that makes sense. So I understand where he's coming from. I'm not mad at this. Once again, you're allowed to like the game, and if you like it, more power to you. This review from Mad Canadian 75 is just weird. So he starts off with initial negatives, which, by the way, he recommended the game, even though it's only got 8 hours on it. He recommended, which, by the way, according to that previous dude, if you don't have 10 hours on the game, you don't need to review it. But he gave a positive review on it, so I'm pretty sure that he would let this slide because it fits his agenda. But anyways, even though he recommended it, he started off with negatives. He said, first off, the world feels empty. The story is boring and it lacks clear immersion or plot. The game is buggy. He goes on to write a novel, but then I slide down to the pros, and he says, as you progress slightly past the initial fights and quests, it seems like you get a higher spawn rate of elite vampires that spice up the combat. So you're willing to ignore all of this just so you can get to like 3/4 through the game. And you recommend it because the vampires get a little bit harder? What is like this was it's very important to read. Nah, dog. Yeah, the world's empty, story's boring, doesn't lack any real direction, game's buggy, I be falling through the map, my gun doesn't work, it's not enough content, and he put this in capital letters, by the way, not enough content, or the quality of content is ass too, but hey, at least you get some hard vampires halfway through the game, and that's why I'm recommending. What? No bueno. So Steven Monkey Dishwasher says, man, Arcane really screwed up their reputation with this one. A bunch of cookie cutter NPCs and voices that don't fit their, which by the way, he recommended this game. We're starting off negative. He said it's a bunch of cookie cutter NPCs and voices that don't fit their characters is what I immediately noticed. Not great graphically. It seems very low budget, but so far my expectations have been exceeded than what I expected from the 59 Metascore, because at least so far it's actually a pretty fun game. So his reason for justifying recommending it is, I heard it's horrible, but it's not horrible. I just think it's mediocre. Absolutely not worth $60 to $70 for this game, but its foundation of going around killing everything has impressed me enough to keep playing it more and otherwise exploring. Plenty of journals, etc. To read, which has always been a plus in my addition to the decent combat. So he said the gameplay was fun enough to keep exploring and playing through the game. Is that right? Well, once again, the game came out May 2nd. He wrote this review on May 5th. And today's May 22nd, and he only has 2 hours on record. He only had 1 hour on the game at the time of the review, and he's at 0 hours in the last 2 weeks. Now, why would he write such a positive review? Ladies and gentlemen, we have our answer right here. Product received for free. Shout out to Steam for putting this in the reviews. I love this right here. If you got a free copy of the game, the world's gonna know. Your opinion can't be trusted. This is probably a game developer or some fucking YouTuber, TikToker. They got paid off with a free copy and it skewed his fucking... According to Anime Dev, he says, I enjoy an AI that doesn't unrealistically shoot me when I don't even see it yet, and nothing has bugged out on me yet. To me, it seems to work fairly okay. You just said that the enemy like bugged out on you and then it said it didn't bug out on you. What? Maybe some people just expected a different game and blame it on the studio? No, I think people paid $60, $70 because they wanted a game that worked. Like what? And then also this is Arcane, a studio with a pedigree that's known for making great games. So yes, there is an expectation. When you make dope shit, people expect you to drop dope shit. If Jay-Z was to drop an album tomorrow, they expect it to be good. Compared to, I don't even want to name an artist I don't like, but you get the point. He said, I went in with zero expectations without reading reviews and perfectly enjoyed it thus far. Is that right? Once again, the game came out May 2nd. This was posted May 10th. Today is May 22nd, in which I'm recording. You don't even have an hour on the game, but you recommended it. The good news is that people called him out on his bullshit. They don't trust his review in the comments, so this is why it's important to read reviews. Cap. According to Zachariah, this game's all right, but it's janky and it lags a bit. I can't even take this shit seriously. The game's good. It's just janky and it lags a bit, but I have a state-of-the-art rig, so it couldn't be my PC. Once again, received the product for free, so we know why. He admits the game is janky, but it's still pretty good. I wonder why. Say it ain't so. Y'all ain't. You know that saying though. What would you do for a Klondike bar? What would y'all do for a free copy of Redfall? That's what I want to know. Busting it wide open for these developers. Come on, bruh. Big Daddy Wongs goes on to say, I love this wonky game. I'm looking forward to see how it will improve, like Sea of Thieves. Also, kudos to Phil Spencer, CEO of Xbox Game Studios, for saying, I also know these games are $70 and I'm gonna take full responsibility for launching a game that needs to be great. Only time will tell. We will see. But until then, I'ma kill some bloodsuckers. So my first thing is, I was like, yo, why is he sucking off Phil Spencer so much? Like, the game is still broken, like, but then like, yo, I think this dude genuinely loves the game. He has 170 hours on Redfall. He might be the person that's played this the most. He has 97 hours in the last 2 weeks. But then what's funny is if you scroll down to the comments, Wink Dinker says this has got to be Phil Spencer's actual Steam account, and this made me laugh. If you read this review, like, yo, I think he's just an Xbox fanboy. This is not Phil Spencer's actual Steam account, because if you were paying attention, Phil Spencer had said he played 37 minutes of Redfall and then he uninstalled the game. He said that shit was ass, bro. So I don't think this is Phil Spencer's account, because this is definitely more than 37 minutes. I think Big Daddy Wongs just genuinely likes the game. He's a super Xbox fan. Like I said, he plays Sea of Thieves. I call it Sea of Z's. I don't like that game either, but he seems to like everything Xbox has to offer. So One man's trash is another man's treasure. Let him enjoy what he likes. So mesothelioma, I don't know how to say this motherfucker's name. He goes on to say, if you come into this game wanting non-stop combat as a key element, it won't really be what you're looking for. Approach the game the way it's presented. A town to explore that was torn apart from the inside, so you need to fight to save its remaining community, with oodles of environmental storytelling bolstered by PC and enemy dialogue, and you should have a better time. Now, I have no doubt in my mind that this guy enjoys the game because he has over 100 hours on it, but I'm calling cap on, look, I played the game, bro. The problem with the exploration is it's completely boring. There's long stretches of just walking around aimlessly trying to figure out where you can go. Then you find little sections, little towns, right? And you walk in and the houses are empty. You might find like a note here and there, but you think that's interesting? It's not interesting environmental storytelling. It's boring to me and it's very generic. Very early Xbox 360, and I feel like gaming has evolved far past that, and I think that's what people were looking for. They were looking for something a little bit more innovative. There's not even like interesting NPCs. Like the vampires literally just sit in the buildings and just wait to be attacked, versus like another game from Arcane, Dishonored. Dishonored's world was very interesting, and it used environmental storytelling. Whether it was the guards or like the main people you had to assassinate, they were having like fun, interesting dialogue, conversation. Like an example, Batman Arkham City. Like you remember in Batman Arkham City, like the thugs that were walking around the city, the conversations they would have about Batman or different things going on in the city. That's environmental storytelling. That's very fun. It's not done through a cutscene. That, to me, that's good. But in this game, you're just kind of aimlessly walking around. There might be a note somewhere on the wall that says oogie boogie, that watch out for the vampires. Ooh, you might get sucked up. Like, what if I'm trying to get sucked up? Get the fuck out of here. So my next positive Redfall review comes from Shonic Punk. And Shonic Punk says, I gotta go fast. You better. Let me stop. I'm not gonna lie, I don't give a fuck what he has to say. I'm not reading this. Look at this, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. The reason I wanted to highlight this comment is because, like, yo, shout out to the Steam community, bro. Even if it's a dog shit game, some of you guys are really dedicated. This man has his own page with over 1,300 plus reviews. Make sure to follow Captain Froggy's club curator page for plenty more. He has his own club for reviews. He's done over 1,300. God damn, dude. And then you scroll down. Look, this man made a whole goddamn diagram for his review. He made a whole fucking IGN review, bro. You got the pros and the cons laid out. I have no doubt in my mind, although he listed more cons than pros, but whatever. I have no doubt in my mind that this man enjoys the game. Even though he got it for free, he played for 30 hours. He wrote this whole fucking novel. He wrote a whole, this man wrote a SAT diaphragm and shit, gave it a 6 out of 10. Okay, make sure to join Captain Froggy's reviews. He's got a curated page, and it's made by Shonic Punk. So I just wanted to highlight that, man. Shout out to the Steam community. Look, some people like Redfall. I don't understand why. The game's dog shit, but hey, it is what it is. What I do understand is why I uninstalled Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Yeah, I bet you didn't know I uninstalled that. And if you want to find out why, just click the card right here. Please, I need more watch time. Click it. I'm serious.